Uh, Good evening to everyone present here. We are back again with yet another session of Winners Way Trophy with the participants of 66th year citation winners from Z301 VNIT College. To give a gist about the series or the session, so the Winners Way series is an initiative that invites students from institutions that have secured citations and did a notable work in trophies in the previous years to present their project. During the session, the presenters will showcase their work and engage in a Q&A segment with the audience. We are now live on a YouTube channel, and the viewers can directly engage with the participants or the winners via the chat box. And the Q&A session would be live after their presentation. So, myself, Rahul Mangan, currently serving as the 67th year Zonal President of Zone 3. Along with me, we have Kashish Saini, Zonal President of Zone 1, and Likhit Jain, of Zonal President of Zone 5. So, to begin with the session, we'll start with an overview of GRIHA Trophy, which is currently underway. Likhit can brief you about the trophy.
Hello everyone. So myself Likhit Jain, Zonal President Zone 5 NASA India. So I'll just brief you about GRIHA and its collaboration with NASA India. So GRIHA stands for Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. And we have been in collaboration with GRIHA for a long time, and we are doing the GRIHA and NASA India Trophy. And the design brief for last year was around the multifunctional promenade development in Puri, uh, Odisha. So it was to incorporate the cultural pavilions, the recreational zones, performance spaces, and exhibition areas. And it was roughly around 5,400 square meters of site. And the objectives were to make it a celebrated place of street culture, ethnicity, and artistic diversity, and a design for all accordance with harmonized guidelines and space standards issued by ministry. So the submissions were made very clear, like the site plan and layout plans, conceptual plans, elevations and sections, and also a bit here and there about the carbon impact assessment. So this was the overview about the 66th year GRIHA Trophy.
All right, without further ado, I think we should delve into our engaging session. So, we would request the winners of Z301 to present their work and explain the intricacies and the procedure they went through while dealing with the trophy.
Hi. So yeah, we'll begin with the presentation as well. Aditya, please. What does it say? Sheets. Thank you. Okay. So hi everybody, I'm Kanak Hilani, and I was the unit secretary during the 66th year while we did the GRIHA Trophy. And yeah, as Likhit already mentioned all about the trophy brief, some of the things that really stood out to us during the brief reading was a focus on the cultural and social impact that our project would have on Puri and Odisha. So that is one of the points that we tried to highlight in our entry. Along with that, GRIHA also focuses on sustainability. So that has obviously been a major aspect of our project. Along with that, we've also tried to cater towards the functionality, the cultural aspects, the environmental aspects, and tried to incorporate all of that in our design. So this first sheet highlights the site that we were provided with, the general context of the site. We've showed our site, the contours that were given to us, the location of the site within India, as well as the promenade area that we were given with. So this sheet, we've tried a basic design process. We began with a detailed data collection where the team delved into detailed macro level as well as micro level analysis of the site. So during the macro level analysis, we noted the site boundaries, the different kinds of urban regulations, the urban context around the site, different kinds of tribes, the culture, the climate, the traditions. All of that we've compiled into different kinds of charts and tables, and I tried to understand how we could incorporate all of that into our design. And along with that, in the brief, we were given certain area requirements. So we've tried to expand upon that and tried to show it in a very detailed manner. Along with that, GRIHA also has certain guidelines where we're supposed to use a particular amount of site as a built up, while the remaining of the rest of it has to stay as open land or has to stay unconstructed. So some of those guidelines have also been incorporated. Along with that, we've also looked at the climate strategies on a day-to-day as well as an hour-to-hour basis, and tried to design accordingly the shading, the dehumidification strategies that would be required, the different winds that would be coming onto the site. All of that has been taken care of to different softwares and different charts that we, got from very authorized sources. Along with along with that, we also looked at the bylaws, and we had a form development that came as a result of the entire process. So the circulation and the form development, we'll talk about that further.
So what we've tried to do here is sorry. Yeah. So the concept behind the site plan, as you look, is how we've tried to incorporate circular forms and more of curvilinear shapes. This is because we wanted to depict the circularity of life, the completeness of life, and also wanted to show a good play between celestial bodies, which is the solar system, in our case, of how each and every planet is trying to interact with each other, and how planets revolve around the center. So since Puri has a very strong context about Sun Temple, Konark, so that's what we have tried to incorporate here as well. The center being the sun, and all other activities and design programs being revolving around it. Apart from that, since it was a contour site, we also tried to incorporate various activities on various different contour levels in order to provide a good play and a relationship between each and every activity. Also, we've tried to do seasonal developments. For example, for one season, the site is designed in such a way that it can have the best potential and the best possibilities in that particular weather, be it summer, winter, be it rainy season or autumn. Apart from that, how we've tried to make our site universally inclusive and for all age groups and users, be it children, be it aged people, and all other stakeholders. As you see in the site, there are a lot of spaces here. The central space, which is the center of our site as well, is the open air auditorium, which is a very communal space. And since the design program emphasized on building a promenade which is people friendly and is more walk, and the major activities are like walking and leisure recreation on a specific note. Apart from that, we've also tried to incorporate exhibition spaces, set outs, bio ponds for landscape features of our site. And apart from that, we've also incorporated other facilities like composting and admin areas for better administration of the site. Similarly, we have also done a circulation of the site as well, as you see here. As mentioned before, we've also tried to regionalize each and every activity on each and every contour so that there is a good play, and you also see the skyline here of the site. The programs which I mentioned before, like the admin area, workshop, shaded seating, exhibition areas, are like here. So the workshop spaces were majorly for the people for communal activities, and so that people can have a good bond between each other and also understand, or any lecture can be taken. Admin area for general purposes, washrooms which are necessary, shaded seating spaces so that people who are walking or want to take a leisure time or want to rest can use that space. Apart from that, exhibition area, since Puri is very culturally rich and has great heritage, a lot of installations, art pieces, handicrafts, the regional artwork can be displayed in an exhibition area like this. So since the brief already had specifications of such a building program, we also tried to incorporate some additional things like stalls and other areas which could be incorporated.
So generally, we see that in GRIHA focuses on water management, energy conservation, waste, and carbon. We actually try to focus on the areas which are pre-occupancy period for the construction workers. So we proposed a construction site plan which would include the washrooms, the construction area workers, whatever excavation pits would be provided, etc. About the energy performance, we did various simulations for solar analysis, shadow analysis, so that all the pathways which were provided in the promenade were shadow free. The renewable energy sources were included in our design, like solar and wind. So the solar was generated by the solar panels, monocrystalline solar panels, and calculations were also provided that what amount of energy was generated throughout the year. The second renewable energy source was the solar street lights. It was designed by us with local materials like bamboo, had energy efficient LED light fixture with the solar panel on top, which would provide energy to the LED fixture with the specifications provided. Talking about the building envelope, we had many iterations used, and by that iterations, we come to a basic one solution which had low cost materials and local materials used, like straw bait. We also used mud and bamboo, which had a lower U value for the wall assembly. For the roof assembly, we had two assemblies, one for the green roof, which had a green roof and a filler slab, and second, which had a filler slab with terracotta pots. The next important thing in our design was the innovation. The wind shading device, which was called as a shikhara, it was an innovative method which was designed to generate electricity or energy. And the design was actually inspired by the features from local temple architecture in Odisha. There was a shaft which would rotate and the energy would be generated, and the vertical axis turbine was used there. Okay, sorry for the delay. There was some network issue. Talking about the water management, we did calculations in a tabular form, which shows the water generated, the rainwater harvesting calculations, and the total capita demand with the grey water calculations and also the black water generated. We also use some of the strategies like permeable paving, drip irrigation, bioswales, biopond, root zone treatment, which would decrease the reduction of the water by 50% by using techniques like drip irrigation and xeriscaping. So the landscape demand of water was reduced to 50%. Then the next strategy which we used were water efficient fixtures, like the water demand was reduced in that also. Then we also used eco toilets which was a strategy for the black water treatment, where the manure was also generated and which used very less water. A water flow diagram was also provided from the start of on the site to the collection point on the site.
So next we'll talk about the waste management, which was highlighted in the brief that they require that waste and water. So in the waste management, we've tried to map how the waste is produced by the user by different kinds of user groups, as well as how it is utilized on site and how the waste is produced, as well as how we can recycle it. So all of that has been mapped in a chart along with the table to show the different kinds of waste produced and how that can be recycled in different kinds of dustbins. We've also provided a solution for organic waste, which is vermicomposting. Besides that, for water treatment, we've provided black water treatment through the means of eco toilets. We've analyzed the different kinds of eco toilets available in the market and shown the best kind that we can use on site. Along with that, we've done resilience mapping. So Odisha is particularly prone to cyclones and flooding because it is directly next to the coast. So we've tried to provide solutions such as providing drains in the OAT and sloping the entire water away from the site, along with providing embankments on the beach side to prevent flooding and providing permeable pavers along with biospheres along the footpaths. Then we've also tried to do a space analysis from the perspective of the user group as to how they would experience the site. So we've tried to show the different kind of visual experiences they would have on site, the kind of different recreational activities, how they can use the spaces, if they can experience any natural or man-made spaces. Basically, we've tried to portray the perspective of a user group as to how they would feel when they come on site.
Yeah, so what we've tried to do here is the carbon impact, which is a necessity of the brief. We've tried to perform a life cycle assessment on the basis of energy, water, and materials, where we've tried to use, in cases of energy, we've tried to use uh, a wall composition which has a lower U value than conventional wall assemblies, water reduction, which we've done on various landscaping and a lot of other water requirements. We've reduced that than what is conventionally used. In terms of materials, we've used materials which have a lower carbon emission factor, and we've used it less in number. Apart from that, we also tried to use carbon sequestering materials so that our built up, our project is carbon neutral in nature. So that's what we've tried to do here. And apart from that, we've also undergone different graphs here. As you see, the reduction which we, as our project, we've tried to achieve is shown here. And also, we've tried to do a biomass calculation of the site of each and every tree so that carbon sequestration of each and every tree is done effectively. Also, materials have been procured from a shorter range so that there is much less emission from traveling and vehicles. Apart from that, the exhibition panel which you see here is an installation which we have tried to devise, which works on the mechanism of a conveyor belt where local handicraft and fabrics and other artworks can be displayed. This is not only an integral part of our site, but also can be used as an urban installation in the city as well, in Puri and other parts of Odisha, which is very cultural rich, and can be a good piece where which can include communal interest.
Talking about the health and well-being, we did various analysis like daylight analysis and CFD. For the daylight analysis, we did to understand how the artificial lighting would work and how the natural lighting would work. CFD analysis was done to understand the wind flow throughout the site, to understand the number of openings should have been given. So we included various strategies like stack ventilation and use of dehumidifier, as Puri was in a warm and humid type of climate in India. So all the devices which used in the site had been given and the specifications had been provided in the sheet. For improving the indoor air quality, we used air purifiers, which were not a device but the assembly of plants and trees with dust purifiers and terracotta tiles, which would allow clean air to pass through inside the museum, inside the exhibition and workshop areas. Indoor plants like spider plants, bamboo were used to have clean air inside the area. Organic paints were used which had cow dung in it and which had low VOC content. Acoustic comfort was obtained by using trees as a natural barrier in the site, and bamboo fences were used to have a aesthetic appeal from outside the site, and also had a boundary to the site. Universal accessibility. The barrier-free environment was created in the site by use of sensory signages, audio and both braille. Sensory gardens were used in the overall area so that the entire landscape invokes the five senses through all the barriers. All gender washrooms were provided. Ramps were provided with better proportions and correct proportions for all type of accessibility. Tactile flooring was used, and resting spaces were provided with awareness camps. Performance monitoring and metering was done. No smoking zones were created. Pollution monitoring was done. Sensory lighting was controlled, and waste metering was also done. Talking about the last sheet talks about the three pillars of sustainability, which was a major concept or major aspect of the brief. So the brief also talked about sustainability, not just in terms of environmental aspect, but in social and economic way. So in this sheet, we tried to portray that how our site was actually socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable. So socially, we tried to cater all the user groups like construction workers by construction management practices, transgender by including all gender washrooms, tribes by including shops and various artisans programs. Physically abled, a barrier-free environment was created. Children's free areas were created. Artisans were promoted. Economic way in the economic way, local materials were used. Workshops and exhibition places were there. Shops were provided. In the environmental way, we see that water management practices were given, like biosphere retention ponds. Energy efficient practices were given. Carbon impact was there. The lower embodied carbon was materials were used, and the waste management practices were there. So this was a summary where we actually saw that the social, economic, and environmental sustainability was there. So this was our presentation about Anubhuti aside.
So as you can, so I think if you will notice during all of our sheets, we also tried to showcase where we've incorporated the different 30 criteria of GRIHA. We've tried to highlight every criteria and the place where we've used that strategy. So, and we've summarized all of that in the sheets as well. Yeah. Is it okay if we present our walkthrough as well?
Yes.
Speak. Sorry.
Yeah, surely you can go ahead.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, they are presenting the walkthrough. If anyone has any questions or queries related to the same, you can just put the same in the chat box that is in the YouTube live.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with a few questions to understand your design a little bit better. So, firstly, when we all talk about Griha, the first thing that, of course, comes to everybody's mind is sustainability. And sustainability is usually looked at a very streamlined thing. Okay, so like people perceive it one certain way. So, how did you all perceive the topic of the 66th years Griha Trophy that made you give that cutting edge above others and above all the other designs? What was the core concept behind all of this?
So I think one of the major points in the brief mentioned was that we had to look beyond sustainability in just environment. We had to also look at it from a social perspective about how it would go in the long term and how it would give back to the society in the long term economically as well. So I think that is one point that even the jurors appreciated during the jury about how we managed to integrate it all into one design, and we've also managed to portray it. So the integration of all of the different kinds of sustainability, the sheet that we've shown, the social, environmental, and economic sustainability, I think that was one of the major things that made a huge impact on the in the way we presented our project.
Apart from that, what we would like to add is since the sustainability as a term is very complex and is very vast, a lot of things have to be taken into consideration. So, when the brief came, we were also very surprised of built a program, a design program of such small built up, and how to incorporate all other features and factors which you have to take care as that each GRIHA criterion has to be fulfilled in order to secure points and to make a site GRIHA satisfied or compliant. So, in order to go about that, we had to think a lot about what all buildings and what all built up we have to include as a design. And then, when we went about it, we tried to check each and every aspect of GRIHA with our design. That's what we tried to do here.
Okay, so now that we are talking about built up, another thing that is usually perceived by everybody is that when we talk in terms of sustainability, people usually restrict themselves with design. So, how would you explain your design and how did you break those barriers and just think beyond nominal designs?
Yeah, so we've like when you look at our design, we've also given a lot of multi-purpose spaces. So one space in the day functions as a particular space for like shopping or eatery spaces, while in the evening the same space can be used for like music performances or dance performances to showcase the local arts and craft. So like all of that also gives back to the community is one thought. Along with that, the kind of landscaping we've done on site. So there's a Jagannath temple, the famous Jagannath temple of Puri is nearby. So we've also tried to ensure that the landscaping, the kind of herbs and plants that are grown on site, can also be utilized purposes there. So like that is also one way we give back to the community. Also, the local tribes, the kind of crafts that they practice, all of those have been incorporated into shops. The exhibition spaces showcase their various crafts and arts. So, like all of that with the design process also helps with the sustainability because eventually, when you look at sustainability, it also looks at the life cycle cost through a social perspective. So that also takes care of that.
Okay. So, a typical question, how would you like to summarize your whole journey of the 66th year GRIHA Trophy? Because every team, be it a winning team or a participating team, has their own journey which they would like to share with everyone. Like, how did you overcome certain circumstances? How were the roadblocks or something that you had to overcome and you achieved this? So
So the journey was definitely nice. It all started with different iterations of design and working on different areas like sustainability, be it community resilience or any other part like energy, water, etc. We also worked different areas in our study tours. It was a very nice and memorable journey, and lastly, it all concluded with a nice way. So yeah, it was very good to work with all my fellow classmates and juniors.
Uh, Going about the brief only, we were very scared to how to go about this because this is the first time since we've been doing RIA for a while now, and this is the first time a promenade or a space of public utility has to be designed. So how to go about it? How we've had arguments, we've had solutions, we've had n number of options to each and everything, and the journey has been very fulfilling, overwhelming, no doubt. And we definitely thank Griha and also NASA for providing us with such a great platform to explore and perform in such a competition. Not keeping in mind winning is a very secondary thing, but participating and learning is something which is very primary. And we've learned a lot, believe me. And yeah, it's been a really good journey, great journey, a lot of memories, definitely. And yeah, good ending.
I think the cherry on top. Okay. I think the cherry on top was really the final moment when we received the citation at the Indian Habitat Center. And that was like the moment that, concluded everything. We've done it. We finally won the trophy because we worked day and night for this trophy. We've like given our everything. And it was genuinely a very wholesome experience, a good learning opportunity and everything. And as a unit secretary also, I was like, constantly, we were waiting for this trophy because we've been doing this for the past few years now, and it was really, it's sort of become a legacy trophy. So it was really exciting to work on it from ourselves because we've seen our seniors doing it, we've seen other people doing it, and our own experience was just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great to hear about the journey. And as you said that you guys participated after a while or something the same. So for any first timer who are willing to do GRIHA this year and are interested, what is that holistic approach you would like them to take with regard to brief and how to come up with certain iterations or ideation and achieve the GRIHA accredited guidelines or go exactly on the same lines of brief?
So I think it's really important that you take a look at what other people have been doing in the past years, look at the previous examples and study them to see what they have done right and what they've also done wrong, and look at, all of those entries. And also it's important, I mean, GRIHA has their own GRIHA manual, right? So it's important to study that as well and look at the criteria that they've given and how you can't incorporate all of the criteria, obviously. So you need to see how you can incorporate the ones that you can do and how you can do it to the best of your abilities. I think Aryan had to add.
Apart from that, I think since NASA also designs its brief very carefully, and how it's been releasing briefs with each and everything particularly mentioned, and how tasks are mentioned, how objectives are mentioned. I think the very primary step to go about GRIHA as a trophy is to read the brief and every single word of it at least twice, thrice, 10 times, no matter how many times, so that because each word in that brief carries some meaning and has some or the other objective. Apart from that, as Kanak mentioned, to go about GRIHA's manual and read and research about each and every aspect of what has been expected is something which is to be done. Apart from that, yes, put in your efforts, and it's a good trophy to take part in, and it's a very holistic and a learning experience.
Okay,
I think
so
also teamwork and time management. Sorry, yeah. I think also teamwork and time management, like it's very important because last year we had a very limited team of 10 people only. So it was very important that, all of the 10 people put in their best efforts. So like you need to also have a very good team around you, and all of you should lift each other up instead of just having arguments of the design, and just take each other forward and not just get stuck in some place.
Also, since we had a very strong small team limit, we also had juniors among us. So carrying them as people who are new to a trophy like this, and making them understand the dynamics and the seriousness of each and every parameter which is being taken care of is a big task and is supposed to be done very carefully, so that in future if they are also doing the trophy, they should be able to do it with you know a proper understanding. So a lot of teamwork, a lot of learning, teaching, of course, as we were seniors at that time and we had our juniors. So that's a great responsibility as well. So that is something which is to be done when team building is something. It's important.
Also, in a trophy like Griha, I think research is very important. Design research to the things like strategies, whatever strategies we use in our design, research is the utmost priority. And researching about each and every individual strategy which we use, with the manuals like ECBC, BIT, GRIHA, and other guidelines, URPDFI, everything should be studied thoroughly and accordingly to have a better design and understanding about the design throughout the way.
Okay, so a conclusion to the answer would be read the whole brief particularly in a good way, decode it line wise, and do research. That is the most said thing in studios also, that do research about whatever you are doing. And coming to the last conclusion that I would like to ask is the GRIHA trophy or trophies of this kind particularly are very technical in terms of the aspect and whatever you do. So how was the technical aspect that you guys cracked or you guys came across, and that you would like to tell all the viewers that whatever technical approach or support you should take?
So about the technical thing, I think the areas which you don't know, you should probably study. Ask somebody who knows and study about that so deeply that you understand the thing very nicely, and then apply it into your design. Don't just randomly place things which you don't know or don't understand. So yeah, study about the technical things thoroughly.
Of course, the technical side of GRIHA, which is the major emphasis of the brief, is how in each brief there is an objective, there are requirements. One is supposed to study each and everything, and while studying also people get to learn that how tools can be used, how various things are to be kept in mind, how each criterion has to be fulfilled, and that's how with each criterion when one studies, they understand the requirements. So each and everything it's a list of requirements which is needed to be fulfilled. Then only a trophy or suppose GRIHA is successful. It's the requirements, and these requirements have to be fulfilled.
Yeah, also we've gone ahead and taken a look at a lot of brochures and already existing products in the market to see how we can modify those and see if we can use it in a design as well. So looking at the specifications also, we've done water calculations and energy calculations, and we've seen like, you also do case studies of real life projects where, maybe net zero energy of water have already been implemented, and in what way they've been implemented, the kind of efficiency that those projects give back. So, studying all of that and seeing how you can modify it to your own project and then giving that kind of same technical data is very important, because you can't just copy paste something. You'll have to modify it and then steal something like an artist, understand everything and then implement it, and not just take something and put it in here. That's it.
Okay. So that was it from my side for the questions. Kashish, do you have anything?
believe we all have beautifully given the answers to the questions that generally come through when people go through the briefs or just wonder how somebody comes about their design project. So I think we can end the session here for today. I would like to thank you all for taking out time and joining the session. It was wonderful having you all, and congratulations once again on winning the trophy. And to everybody who's viewing this video, of course, you can take on all the golden tips that these people have given to you. And yeah, best of luck for the trophy.
Yeah, thank you. It was a wonderful experience to have done this trophy, and thanks NASA India for also having provided us with this opportunity, because otherwise it would have you would not have had this experience.
Yes, we thank NASA for this platform, and releasing competitions like these contests, and how we can understand the dynamics and understand the fraternity, and how each and every competition brings out the best in each and every college. And I think competitions like these should be continued, and it's a very good process and a very wonderful experience. Thank you, NASA, for that.
Thank you, NASA, and thank you, GRIHA, for this wonderful opportunity. It was a great platform, and I love working with everybody here. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you everyone who's been watching this live, and obviously Z301 and all the speakers here. Thank you for taking your time out and giving, as said, the golden points for the trophy. I guess there are no questions here on from the live chat box also. So we would conclude the session